there is nowhere where the Kenyan authorities, agencies such as yourself or Kenya Pipeline is involved in that contract to ensure the protection of public funds. So these funds are allowed to be paid out, a contract to be entered into by a private enterprise, which is an oil trader in this country, and a supplier of a vessel, who are private individuals, to incur expenses on behalf of, which is paid for by Kenyans, and there is nobody to oversight whatever number of days, whatever the contract says, whatever we are going to pay, and at the end of the day, Kenyans pay this money, and we don't have any evidence here to show us exactly who pays this money, who carries away this money, how it is paid. We just have now to trust your word, and the minister is hiding from us.
Yeah.
Yes, Prof.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Professor Mahmoud Sheikh, member for Wajir South, and a member of this committee. I was running from another meeting, and I'm on another agent's call again. Now, I do apologize. I want to follow up with Honorable Omolele here and add a bit of more strength onto the cases that he has raised on here. We want to see audited accounts for the last 10 years. That is going to give us a picture of who takes what, who puts in what. Do you have 10 years audited accounts of demurrages? The demurrage is about money. It is about collection of money. That's one. Second, the audited account is not only financial figures. It is about who takes responsibility for the delays that happens. Someone is paid to be on the job for them to be paid demurrages, to delay, to slow down, to sluggish standing at the workplace, so that they are paid money. So we want to know all that. So it's not audited account about the figures in shillings only, but also work performance audited. That is what we really need and want to tell Kenyans. And we don't want to see the CS running away from us. Chair, we have gotten an extension from the Speaker just because of this. We would have given a report that is implicating you guys so hard for running away from us. And we will take it forward. We will take it forward. We will let Kenyans know of the failures, because we have been reeling over these things for quite some time. So it's not something new that we are trying to start up with you guys. So we deliberated so much about this, but it seems we're going nowhere. We are on a rat race. Thank you.
Okay, I want to stop there. I want to go back to EPRA. I want them to answer those questions, because there are some fundamental issues that we need to resolve, so that as we move forward, we know which direction we are going towards. So can you answer some of those fundamental issues that the members have raised, so that we have a foundation from which we are operating? And also just tell us how long on average a vessel is expected to take at the port. Is there any vessel that arrives that does not pay, that does not accrue any demurrage charges? That is when we've attained 100% efficiency. So just answer those questions, and then we'll come back.
Thank you, Chair, honorable members. And probably we'll start with the general sentiment, particularly raised by Honorable Omolele, as to what our role is as the regulator, and whether we actually provide oversight to ensure that Kenyans are not fleeced. First, I would want to start with the basis, and I'd mentioned this earlier on, which is the legal basis for the importation of petroleum products into the country. This is legal notice number 24 of 2012 that has codified the open tender system terms and conditions, including the contract. This is run by the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining, where there is a projection done.
Just stick to the demurrage issue.
Yes, I'm getting there, Chair. The open tender system terms and conditions, legal notice number 24 of 2012, and the open tender terms and conditions, there is a provision there on demurrage. There are some numbers there on acceptable demurrage rates, that are provided for in the open tender terms and conditions, which are anchored under this legal notice. This provides the basis. To the second question as to
what are the numbers?
The specific demurrage numbers in the OTS tender terms and conditions. As I said, it's dependent on the size of the vessel. You have your MRs, you have your LRs. I'll just ask Edward, the engineer Kinywe, to give us the numbers.
Thank you, Chair. The OTS is crafted based on international shipping practice, and they normally check the world scale rates of these ships in terms of freight, because demurrage is the opportunity cost of that ship not being able to sail out of the port and do some useful work. So they charge you the rate they are supposed to charge the ship to transport other goods elsewhere per day. So we have the three categories of ships. These are medium range ship, which is up to 44,999 metric tons. So the demurrage rate per day is $25,000 per day pro rata. Per day pro rata, meaning the more it stays, there's a compounding rate on top of it. Then these are long range one. This is LR1. This is a ship between 45,000 metric tons to 79,999 metric tons. And basically the demurrage for that kind of ship is $31,000 per day pro rata. And then there's the final ship, which is basically what we import mostly in this country, is a long range 2. This long range 2 is between 80,000 metric tons and 159,999 metric tons. The demurrage rate here is $45,000 per day pro rata. Thank you.
Okay. Does that legal notice provide for the acceptable range of time? You know, number of days that you the maximum number of days that you can actually pay, or is it just a free world? If you stay for 30 days, it's okay. If you stay for 20 days, it's okay.
Thank you, Chair. The legal notice and the OTS agreement don't stipulate the number of days. That can be based on best practice. Like, for example, I can give you a good example, is the Shimanzi Oil Terminal, which is a private jetty. There's a policy directive that was given by the PS that vessels should not spend more than 10 days. This is a smaller jetty, but because it goes to a private facility for control purposes, the PS had to issue a policy guidance that a vessel cannot stay in that jetty for more than 10 days. And if it stayed for more than 10 days, the demurrage rate was incurred by the importer. For KOT, the demurrage rates I've given you mostly apply for Kipemu Oil Terminal. There's no defined number of days because it depends on the availability of the jetty. But of course, we task KPA and KPC also to be able to have an oversight of the number of days these vessels are taking at the port and the reasons thereof. And of course, as my DG has earlier mentioned, the vessel scheduling committee is able also to probe why certain vessels took longer at the jetty, and if the reasons are not justifiable, then that demurrage is not compensated. As to your other question, whether there are vessels which come without demurrage, yes, there are vessels which come and they leave. But
the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, they are meeting with the Ministry officials, that is the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining, in regards to the escalating charges of petrol and petroleum products. Of course, we are hoping for some good news from there, or some white smoke in terms of fuel prices in the next coming days. Of course, a factor that plays out in